Today, in case you haven't noticed, is Mother's Day. We've had a lot of exposure to it being Mother's Day. A lot of people wanting to sell us something because it's Mother's Day. But today here at Unity, we honor the divine feminine with each and every one of you. Be male or female, we honor that nurturing place that is within you, and we are so very grateful. And I want to take just a quick moment and look at some of the advice that Myrtle Fillmore gave us, because Myrtle is considered the mother of Unity. And, really, she had a healing and she got it all started. And then Charles looked around and went, not bad. I think I'll be a part of it. So we're going to look at some of the things that she talked about as being important in healing. But as you listen to these words, I invite you to recognize that it doesn't matter if it's healing or if it's about prosperity or if it's about gathering love in your life. It doesn't matter. These things are important. These practices are important. So the first one is to unite all areas in your life. That is to bring about your spiritual peace, to bring about the physical, to bring about all areas of your life into oneness, into harmony. So you need that mental aspect. You need that heart aspect. You need the physical world, because this is where we live. She also said that it was important to immerse ourselves in faith, to walk in faith so that we can know and experience the feeling of whatever that is that we want to experience, be it health, be it prosperity, be it wholeness. She talked about turning within. She said sometimes we pray to God outside of ourselves, and it is God that is in the midst of us that frees us and heals us. It's the God within that frees us and heals us. So we need to think of God, the all-powerful healer, as already within, already in every part of our mind, our heart, and our body. Says it's important to be optimistic. Yes, we do know that one, don't we? And so to be optimistic, no matter what's going on in the world, we don't deny that it's happening, but we look for the results being positive. She talks about resting every day. So I'm here to tell you, you need to rest every day. Now, you needed that permission, right? Because all of us think that we can't rest. We have to keep on going. We rest every day to take care of our bodies. She says to maintain a healthy lifestyle, eating healthy, exercising, and again, resting. She talks about blessing the body, that we express the gratitude for our body regularly, that we recognize that as we bless our body, it's giving us all the wonderful work that we need. So we can take a deep breath, recognizing we have all these attributes within us. And now we're going to look at some of the attributes that the holy women within our Bible also bring. So as I have them speak, and we're going to have a group over here that are sharing with us the different women, we're going to also look at these attributes, recognizing you have the attribute within you. Recognizing that the awareness of it is all that is needed to activate it. And so as you become aware and you claim it, and we'll be doing that, so we'll be affirming that we are the woman. I know that might be a stretch from some of you guys, but it's the divine feminine. And then we will be affirming the attribute. And this is all about creating awareness. Mothers are incredible things. The feminine is incredible, don't you think? It's that feeling nature. It's that part that kind of reaches out and nurtures. Don't we all love that? And here's the thing I know. We all have mothers. We all have mothers. And some of our mothers were the very absolute thing that we thought a mother should be. And some of us had mothers that, well, we wanted them to be a little bit different. But you know what? They were just exactly what you needed them to be. So whether you're a mother and you feel like you haven't done it all perfect, whether you have a mother and you feel like she did it all perfect or didn't, I invite you to breathe, to recognize that everybody is doing the best they could in the moment. We're all doing the best we can, right? Are you doing the best you can right now? As a mother, as an aunt, as a grandmother, we're all doing great. So I want to ask that you be really gentle with yourself as we talk about these different aspects. And so Katie will start us off.
Miriam, sister of Moses. I am Miriam, Moses' sister. My mother had to hide Moses in the bulrushes when he was a tiny baby to protect him. I stayed by the river and watched as I saw Pharaoh's daughter when she discovered him. I ran up and offered to find a nursemaid to care for him, and I went to get my own mother. She took care of Moses when Pharaoh's daughter adopted him. At some level, I was always there for Moses. I always believed in him. When God called to Moses to lead the children of Israel to the promised land, I was right there with him. I loved to sing and dance, and I kept the women of the group joyful by leading them in dancing and singing. Like my brother Moses, I am a strong and effective leader, and I think of myself as a spirit-filled woman of God. Once I got leprosy, but I was healed when Moses prayed for me. I represent the soul's struggle to rise above human lack and limitation, to trust in ultimate good, and go beyond personal ego into the promised land of wholeness and truth. I count it all joy. I am Miriam.
Together, I am Miriam. I represent joyfulness. Joyfulness, it is that inherent birthright that we have. And we are told that we do not have a problem except the ones of our own mind. And you put it there, thus you can change it. It's from Myrtle Fillmore. So giving us the opportunity to always be in a place of changing our mind and accepting and choosing joyfulness as we like. Tracy.
Sarah, wife of Abraham. I am Sarah, wife of Abraham. My husband and I were married many years, and I was childless. I knew this was important for Abraham to have a child, and I suggested that he and my handmaiden Hagar have a child. It was very difficult for me to make such a suggestion, but I did what I thought was best for my husband, and Hagar did bear him a son. Years later, when I was 90 years old, God gave me my son Isaac. The gifts I had given to others came back to me when I experienced the joy of bearing a child and raising him. I have always done what I thought was right, and I acted with charity even when it hurt. I am Sarah.
Thank you. As Sarah, I represent the life of charity. Together, as Sarah, I represent the life of charity. So charity, to be true charity, it should be self-sustainable. That is, it should create more wealth rather than perpetuating the cycle of poverty and dependence. In this sense, the best form of charity would be providing quality education for children and, more importantly, building a character, a good character within them. That is true charity. And now we move on.
Queen Esther. I am a Jewish woman who was chosen to be crowned queen. King Xerxes banished Queen Vashti after she displeased him, and in a beauty contest, I was chosen to become queen after Queen Vashti was banished. King Xerxes did not know of my Jewish background. My cousin Mordecai was an advisor to the king. Mordecai found out a plot which Haman duped King Xerxes into signing an order for all Jews to be massacred. I had to help my people. I approached my husband, King Xerxes, uninvited, even though I could have been put to death for that. If I perish, I said. And I went to him. I told him what Haman had done. The king ordered Haman to be put to death for creating this plot. Although the order had been signed and could not be changed, the king gave the Jews right to defend themselves against the massacre. God used me and my cousin Mordecai to save the Jewish people, and even under the pagan rule. I lived out my life as Queen Esther, serving God with faithfulness, honor, and respect. I am Queen Esther.
Together, as Queen Esther, I am courage. Coco Chanel says, the most courageous act is still to think for yourself aloud. Think about that for a moment. Think for yourself aloud, something we don't always do. And then Nelson Mandela says, I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. Indeed, indeed.
Ruth. I am Ruth. I am a woman from Moab. I married Naomi's son, even though Jewish men were forbidden to marry outside their own tribe. We loved each other, and we were happy for a time. Then my husband and his fathers and brothers died, so then my sister-in-law Orpha and I were alone with Naomi. Naomi urged us to go back to our parents. Orpha did so, but I did not. I had married my husband and committed myself to his family, and I would not go back on that promise. To Naomi, I said these words, do not ask me to leave you, for I never will. Where you go, I will go. Where you live, I will live. Your people shall be my people, and your God shall be my God. Where you die, I will die and be buried. Only death itself shall part you and me. Later on, with Naomi's help, I met and married Boaz of the tribe of Judah. Our child Obed was the grandfather of David, who became the most beloved king of Israel. The message of my life is that love overcomes all challenges. I am Ruth.
Together, I am Ruth. I represent the light of love. Love recognizes no barriers. It jumps hurdles, leaps fences, penetrates walls to arrive at its destination full of hope. That's from Maya Angelou. And Myrtle Fillmore says that God is love, and it is the nature of divine love to give life, joy, peace, and health. And so it is.
Rachel, wife of Jacob. I am Rachel, wife of Jacob. I met Jacob when I was caring for my father's sheep. He fell instantly in love with me and made a pact with my father. Jacob worked for my father for 7 years to earn the right to marry me. Then, at the end of 7 years, he was tricked into marrying my sister Leah instead. According to our customs, the eldest daughter must marry before her younger sister is free to marry. Jacob had to work another 7 years to be allowed to marry me also. Then he had 2 wives. For many years I was barren. Then my son Joseph was born, and finally my son Benjamin. Even though he had many other children, because of his love for me, Jacob's favorite child was our son Joseph. There were many disappointments in my life, but I was persistent in my faith and in my trust that God would give me children. I am Rachel.
Together, as Rachel, I am persistent. Does persistent not play a part in success? Can't you remember times that someone in your life encouraged you to keep on keeping on, to move past those hardships that present themselves? Roy Bennett, the author of The Light in the Heart, says, your hardest times often lead to the greatest moments of your life. Keep going. Tough situations build strong people in the end. Acknowledge that. Claim that quality of persistence.
Rebecca, wife of Isaac. I am Rebecca, wife of Isaac. I was drawing water at the well when a servant of Abraham approached me. Abraham had sent him to find a wife for Isaac, and he thought that I would be just fine. He gave me a gold ring and earrings and went to see my parents. They gave their permission, and I married Isaac, who was a wealthy man. Isaac and I had twins, Jacob and Esau. Jacob was my favorite, and I helped Jacob trick Isaac into giving his birthright to him instead of his brother, Esau, my firstborn. In one way our plan worked, but in another it did not, because Jacob had to leave, fearing for his life. I never saw him again. I lost my favorite son. I learned from experience, which has given me strength. With God's help, I can handle whatever comes along. I am Rebecca.
Together. I am Rebecca, the light of strength. Charles Fillmore says that there are men and women who gaze up into the heavens for Christ, as did the early disciples, instead of looking in their own hearts and their own minds to find that strength. And so we awaken to the strength that is within us. We acknowledge it and we are grateful.
Elizabeth, mother of John the Baptist. All of our marriage, my husband Zechariah and I wanted children, but it was not to be. I was old and I had never borne a child, when one day my husband came home from the temple where he worked. He told me that an angel had appeared to him and that the angel told him that I would conceive and bear a child. My husband and I were in doubt, but the angel was right. I conceived a child and gave birth to him 6 months before Jesus was born. When Mary told me that she was with child, I felt my baby leap in my womb. My child, John, was raised to serve God. He was born to be a harbinger for Jesus, to make the way ready for him. John and Jesus were cousins, and they often played together as children. In every way, I have served God all of my life, and I brought up my son to serve God. I am Elizabeth.
Together. Elizabeth, mother of John Baptist. I am here for service. Service is so important. So what brings us closer to God is to be in service to others. Steve O says, I think any religion or spiritual way of life will indicate that service to others will lead to the connection with a higher power. And what I know is that service to others will always bring me above my feelings in the moment and allow me to be out of myself and feel that greater connection. I'm so very grateful. Charles Fillmore says, we shall serve for the joy of serving. Prosperity shall flow to us and through us in unending streams of plenty. Doesn't that sound wonderful? It just flows. As we give, we experience a flow of energy, of light and love and service.
Mary, mother of Jesus. I am Mary, mother of Jesus. My parents, Anne and Joachim, brought me up spiritually. I was very young when I was engaged to Joseph, barely 13 years old. He was an older man who had been widowed. When the angel came and told me that I was to have a child conceived by the Holy Spirit, I accepted it. I felt honored to be chosen. Joseph stayed by me and took care of me. He was with me when Jesus was born. Jesus was a gentle little boy, easy to teach. He had so much love in his heart. I was very proud of him. Events later in Jesus' life were dreadful, almost more than I could bear. But even when Jesus was dying, he thought of me and he asked his disciple John to take care of me. John did that all of his life. A mother's heart can break. I know that because my heart has broken for my son. For all mothers, my heart soars with joy. For all mothers, I weep. For all mothers, I look beyond in the future and I trust God. For all mothers, I pray to God that they be glorified. I am Mary.
Together. I am Mary, mother of Jesus, the light of faith. So faith is choosing that belief that all will go as planned. It is that we keep praying for faith. And it is through this prayer that we develop the wonderful quality that is of the soul, that gives us the energy and the strength and the power and the love to move forward. So we walk in faith and we recognize that God has provided us with faith because there was faith in us.
Mary of Bethany, follower of Jesus. I've been so happy since I met Jesus and began to learn from him. He is the most wonderful teacher in the world. He is so gentle and kind, and he has such wisdom When he speaks, I sit at his feet and listen to every word with all my heart. Just to be near him is my greatest bliss. My sister Martha doesn't always understand that I have to learn from him whenever I can. I must do it. There is nothing more important to me than my spiritual life. I live it, I breathe it, and I spend every moment I can learning more and more. I do everything I can to help Jesus in his work, and I do everything I can to live by his teachings. I am Mary of Bethany.
Together. I am Mary of Bethany. I represent loyalty. So loyalty is one of the pieces that is so important. Eric Fulton says, if loyalty is, and always has been, perceived as obsolete, why do we continue to praise it? Because loyalty is essential to the most basic things that make life livable. Without loyalty, there can be no love. Without loyalty, there can be no family. Without loyalty, there can be no friendship. Without loyalty, there can be no commitment to community or the country. Without these things, there can be no society. We choose loyalty to awaken to the attribute of loyalty.
Martha of Bethany, follower of Jesus. I am very close to Jesus. I do what I can to take care of him and the disciples. I prepare food for them, and I open my home for them to stay when they are in the area. I see that they are comfortable and at ease. It is very important to me that their needs are met while they are in my home. I do all this willingly. It is my desire and my pleasure to serve. Sometimes it is hard for me because others do not share in the work. My way of giving is through service. My ministry is serving others. I am Martha.
I am Martha of Bethany. I serve the ministry of hospitality. I know many of you serve the ministry of hospitality here. And isn't it a wonderful thing to be able to serve others through hospitality? Maya Angelou says that people will forget what you say. They will forget what you do. But they will never forget how you make them feel. That's hospitality. And it is also said that seek to be worth knowing rather than being known well. Seek to be worth knowing rather than being known well. That is humility and a willingness to serve in that sense without claiming to fame, but just enjoying the truth that you're there for others. All right, and we move on to Mary Magdalene.
Mary Magdalene, friend of Jesus. I am Mary Magdalene. I loved Jesus. I followed him wherever he went, and I served him. I was there for him when it seemed that the entire world had turned against him. I took care of Jesus. I know how to make a man comfortable. I massaged his feet and anointed them with oil when he was hot and dusty. Once I wept and I dried his feet with my hair when he was not being honored. I traveled with Jesus and the disciples and prepared food for them. I listened when he needed to talk. I helped him have time alone by keeping others from crowding in. Jesus changed my life. He gave my life back to me. He prayed for me and healed me of 7 ills. Sometimes I say he drove 7 demons out of me. Jesus purified me and accepted me and trusted me. He gave me back my self-esteem. There was nothing I would not do for Jesus of Nazareth, and he knew it too. Jesus appeared to me after his death. From Jesus, I learned the most difficult lessons of my life, non-resistance. When I saw Jesus being taken away by the soldiers, it was as if my life was over, and yet I had to accept the unacceptable. I think of myself as the bride of Jesus. I, Mary Magdalene.
I am Mary Magdalene. I represent commitment. The quality of a person's life is in direct proportion to their commitment to excellence, regardless of their chosen field of endeavor. So let us awaken to that commitment of commitment.
The Samaritan woman at the well. I was at the village well one day, drawing water, when Jesus approached me. He asked me for a drink of water, so I gave him some. We talked, and Jesus told me about living water, the stream of divine ideas that flow through the spiritually alive mind. Most Jews look down upon Samaritans, but Jesus was not that way. He did not see some people as less than others. He knew that Samaritans are very helpful and loving people, generous and considerate of others. Jesus had a special gift. He could see into people's hearts. He looked into my heart and saw that I had been deeply hurt in my relationships with men. I had done my best, but I did not have stable relationships. Jesus looked into my heart and told me that I could count on the living water of God's teachings. They would never let me down. I am a very giving, generous person. Now I have the greatest gift that I could ever be given. I can tell people about Jesus of Nazareth. I, the Samaritan woman.
I am the Samaritan woman. I represent the light of generosity. Again, Maya Angelou. Generosity. My hope is that we develop enough courage to develop courage, to try to learn, to treat each other fairly with generosity and kindness. Kindness and beauty. And so Gibran says this, beauty is not in the face, beauty is in the light of the heart. We're here today to activate all those attributes that light up the heart, light up the eyes, light us up with joy. Stevie Wonder says this of his mama, and I just love it. Mama was my greatest teacher, a teacher of compassion, love, and fearlessness. If love is sweet as a flower, then my mother is that sweet flower of love. And very last, by unknown, where there is love and generosity, there is joy. Where there is sincerity and sacrifice, there is friendship. Where there is harmony and simplicity, there is beauty. Where there is prayer and forgiveness, there is peace. Where there is moderation and patience, there is wisdom. Where there is conflict and crisis, there is opportunity. Where there is wonder and adventure, there is growth. Where there are adornment and confession, there is worship. Where there is compassion and concern, there is God. There is faith and hope. There is spring. And so it is. Myrtle Fillmore says, as the sunshine brings out the colors of beauty, so the light of love brings out the Christ virtues in people. So love, love, and love. God bless you.